You're listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. If you miss any of the program, you can find the podcast at the bottom of the page at sunnyradio.com.
It's the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour on a Monday. Hey, gorgeous, you're in here right now. Usually at this time, Heidi leaves the room and she goes out and pets our dog and she refills the coffee and does anything she can possibly do to ignore me. She's like, I need a break from you, really, is what I need right now. I just wanted to say, we're number one. We're number one. Sioux Falls is number one on this list. It's actually the bottom of the list, but it's a good thing. 2022's most expensive metro areas for renters. The list came out, and we were dead last. Oh. Which means we're, the most affordable place for renters. This is from a company called Lawn Love. Heidi loves that. They send this to me and that I read them. She's like, what does that even mean? Right. I have no idea. But they send me stuff like this all the time. And Sioux Falls quite often is on the positive end of the scale for these things. Not always, but quite often. So who do you think is the most expensive place as far as rent goes? Which community?
I would... A community?
Yeah, like a community where it's the most expensive place to rent a house.
Bel Air.
No, New York or Newark or Jersey City, that area, that metro area. Second most expensive, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach. Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, and Ventura, California. San Diego, Chula Vista, and Carlsbad. Number 5 is urban Honolulu. Number 6, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim. 7, Napa Valley. 8, Naples and Marco Island. And 9, Washington, Arlington, Alexandria. And 10, Bridgeford, Stamford, and Norwalk. So, again, those are the most expensive places. And the most expensive, let's see if it says how much the rent is. I guess it doesn't say that on here. But the least expensive on the entire list in the entire country, market 172 out of 172, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Last year, by the way, we were 171. So that means we got even more affordable than last year. Last year, Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Arkansas was the most affordable place. Okay. This year, they're number 164. So I don't know what happened there. Boy, way to let it slip, guys. Speaking of real estate, you know who I'm going to be speaking with in a moment?
Who's that?
Brent Baker. Yeah, our realtor. We love Brent. The home that we bought recently, we bought through him. Our daughter sold her home, bought her home, all of that. Dan sold his home, bought his home, all of that. He's a good dude. If you're looking for a realtor and you want some help and some experience and a guy that'll just help you get it done right, Brent Baker. And again, like I said, we're going to have him in the studio coming up in a bit.
Give yourself a little credit.
It's more important than ever to have a better credit card. At bettercreditcards.com, we offer a variety of credit card options to fit your needs. Whether you want a card to give you cash back or a credit card to help you build your credit, we probably have it at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Give yourself a little credit. Go ahead and switch to bettercreditcards.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. It is a Monday, and on Mondays I love to, when I get a chance, visit with this guy right here, Brent Baker with Clients First Group, and he was in last week, and we were talking about a bunch of mortgage questions, and we're going to pick up where we left off, and I've got my notes over here, and we're going to talk about the next thing on the list, Brent, and this, I've heard it both ways, pre-qualification and pre-approval, and are those kind of different things then?
A pre-qualification is almost like a verbal approval, and that's not a true picture. But pre-qualification is you haven't provided all of the proof that a lender needs to move forward. They're going to need certain items to establish that it's not just your word, but this is really what is your life as.
Nice. And then when it's time to get a mortgage, you need some documents. You were talking about proof. What kind of stuff do you need in order to get a mortgage secured?
Well, you're going to need to provide some pay stubs, usually 2, to cover a month's worth of income, some tax returns, some W-2s, and sometimes a few more documents depending on your individual scenario.
Nice. And what does the process look like when you're going to get a mortgage?
It's not a scary process at all.
Especially for me. I just let Heidi do it all. I'm not too proud to say it. She did the homework. I just signed my name.
Really, you can apply online. For most people, sometimes your lifestyle that's the way your life works. But in my experience working with a variety of different loan officers from different types of institutions, it's pretty simple because most things are online. You can pull your tax return off or scan it in one way or the other, your pay stubs. It's all pretty easy. And then it can go to automatic underwriting, or sometimes they have to do a manual. But they'll evaluate and tell you what you qualify for, and you may feel that's more than you want to spend, or maybe you're a little disappointed. But they can also then guide you into what you need to do to raise your credit score if that's a part of the problem, or just to increase your affordability. What do you need to pay off?
Nice. And what happens after I get approved for a mortgage? What's the next step?
Well, assuming that now that you've gotten approved and you've gone out, shopped for a home, negotiated that purchase contract, then it's going to come down to the closing time. After you've negotiated all your inspections and the appraisals come in and there's no deficiency there, different states have different rules, but in South Dakota, once we have cleared all those contingencies, you will meet at the title company, sit down and sign your mortgage. You will sign off on a variety of documents. They're standard form. They're not going to change the form just for you, so don't panic. If you need to read them, you're going to be there a while.
Yeah.
And I have sold houses to contract readers. That is their profession.
Yeah. They read them all.
They glance at them pretty fast. But that's the date that you actually sign and the date that your mortgage is funded and you get the keys. Nice.
What would you say is the most common mistake or the common mistakes to avoid when getting a mortgage?
There's several of those. I always advise people to shop around. I have lenders that I've known and trust, and there's lots of them out there. But you have to find one that, one, you feel is telling you the truth, who's being upfront with you, but also you're shopping for rates and fees, and do that. Some people will automatically think that online is the way to go. You're not saving any money.
Yeah.
It might seem that way, but also just remember, while the online lender will get it done, there's really not a lot of advantage there to doing that. Another thing is not really taking the time to educate yourself about the mortgage process and what you qualify for and the various things that can come into play, like your down payment and closing costs. You need to know that closing costs are not a part of your down payment. Down payment is simply a reduction off of the price you have agreed to pay for a property. Closing costs have to do with your loan origination fee, your survey, your appraisal, what the title company gets to process all of that and do the title search and meet with you to sign your papers. Those are closing costs.
Nice.
Another thing is failing to lock in that rate. Some people think it's going to go down, keep going, whatever. At some point, you need to lock in that rate. And most bankers are pretty workable. Another portion that you should look at, is this the right loan product for what I'm doing? Just because this is what mom and dad used or what your brother used, everybody's scenario is different.
Yeah.
And things change over time. So make sure you're looking at the right product.
Very good.
Then finally, don't buy things that are unnecessary. Stay within your typical budget. Don't get excited about buying furniture until you actually have the keys to the house.
That can make a big impact on things, can it?
Oh, because now you've thrown off your debt to income.
Yeah.
There are plenty of horror stories out there where people traded vehicles or made some major expenses, and now they're no longer going to be closing on that sale.
Because they were pre-approved based on the other scenario.
Correct. So.
Well, if you are in the market to buy a home or in the market to sell a home, and if you'd like somebody to guide you through this process, I absolutely recommend Brent Baker, and you can reach out to him. What's your number, Brent?
The number is 605-310-0297, or email me, brentbaker@ KW.com.
Very nice. You can find him online as well through the website clientsfirstgroup.com.
Did you know you can allocate a percentage of your IRA to physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover? You can put your IRA back on the gold standard. Genesis Gold IRA is the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. GenesisGoldIRA.com would like to help protect your IRA today with a simple phone call. Learn more and get the phone number at GenesisGoldIRA.com. That's GenesisGoldIRA.com.
This Day in Sioux Falls History is brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page and Sunny 93.3. It was on this day, June 19th, 1960, John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon were both in Sioux Falls on the same day, giving speeches at the Sioux Falls Coliseum, campaigning to become president. At the time, Richard Nixon was the vice president to Dwight David Eisenhower, and John F. Kennedy was the junior senator for Massachusetts in the U.S. Senate. But we know today that both would go down as giants in American politics. They were both invited by men running for South Dakota Senate who would both go on to become giants in South Dakota and U.S. history in their own right. The incumbent Republican Senator Carl Mundt had held the job since 1948, but was going up against a very worthy opponent, two-term Congressman George McGovern. With local help, Mundt used his political sway to bring the National American League Convention to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. As part of the festivities, he arranged for the vice president to be the keynote speaker on Saturday evening of the event, and of course make a good plug for Mundt's re-election. Not to be outdone, Congressman McGovern went to work and got Senator John Kennedy on the lineup for Saturday morning, all to the benefit of Sioux Falls citizens. Nixon would go on to win the South Dakota election in a landslide, although Kennedy, of course, won in the national election. However, the Senate race was much closer. Mundt just barely hung on to his seat. McGovern would earn a seat in the Senate right next to Mundt just 2 years later, after the passing of Senator Francis Case. McGovern would serve 3 terms in the Senate before being nominated as a Democratic Party candidate for president in 1972, only to lose to a familiar face, Richard Nixon. What a star-studded list of American icons to gather right here in Sioux Falls, all on the same day. This Day in Sioux Falls History, brought to you by SiouxFallsFunPage.com and Sunny 93.3.
How much do you pay for your cell phone every month? If that's more than $15, it's time for a Mintervention. Mint Mobile makes it affordable and easy to switch. Get a new phone or bring your current one. Whether you're a fan of iPhones or Samsung, they both work well with Mint Mobile. At Mintervention.com, you can see the current special offers from Mint Mobile, offering premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's far less than most people are paying. Just $15 a month. Learn more now at Mintervention.com.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, June 19th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. If the economy is weakening, somebody forgot to tell the cruise line industry. It appears that consumers can't get on a cruise ship fast enough. That's pushing shares of Carnival Corporation to a 52-week high. There may be some choppy seas in the short term, but there is a strong long-term outlook. Another recent theme is animal health care stocks. Pets have become big business and is a very investable opportunity. Of course, always do your due diligence. And if you're looking for a quick win heading into summer, the staff at MarketBeat.com offered up 3 large cap stocks that just got upgraded by analysts. The 3 are Adobe Incorporated, Ollie's Bargain Outlet Holdings Incorporated, and Molson Coors Beverage Company. You can find more links to these stories at MarketBeat.com. And you can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Why did the chicken cross the road? To save money on insurance at InsuranceChicken.com. Do you have the best plan for you? Find out at InsuranceChicken.com. Let's face it, we don't even want insurance. We need it. But you don't need to overpay. Head over to InsuranceChicken.com to see your rates from several different companies. All available in one place at InsuranceChicken.com. The other guys have a gecko, a duck, and an emu. Why not a chicken? InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.